So here are all the pages we've been working on over the past few weeks. I am getting ready to bind these into a book. I've kind of figured out which pages I want to be facing and backing each other. So this is where we are right now. None of these are sewn together yet. That's going to go in the middle. So that's the back of that one. I've just chosen kind of pieces that complement each other. Like I liked these two together. I liked these two together with the various greens. I liked these with the blue. So that's where I am so far. This one I'm working on still. It will be here probably. You can see I've still got my needle in there. I'm not quite finished with it yet, although you will have seen the video of this one completed by the time you see the video you're currently watching. It's just the nature of making videos. I may do one more. I will most likely do one more. But I wanted to get started on the cover because it's going to take longer. So you may remember, let me grab this over here. You may remember I was thinking about using this as a cover, and I have since decided against it because these pages, while I cut them intentionally kind of a generous size to allow myself extra room, I ended up filling most of the space. So they are too large now, and the book isn't really big enough this way to hold them either. So I'm going to do just kind of a freestanding book. I'm using the wrong words. It won't have a hardcover, is really what I'm trying to say. I want to use this thrifted napkin as the cover because I like this hemmed edge, although it won't be hemmed all around. That's okay. I want it to wrap around, and so I think I will just cut this to size like this, and then work on slow stitching the cover. So the question is, I think what I will plan to do is slow stitch on both sides of this. Let's see, how's that going to work? I'm making a new plan as we speak. So I don't have the piece I want to use for this, but I will grab something here that will work. This is a scrap of muslin. So my plan right now is to create, this is going to be a very rough showing. I'm going to create kind of a spine in the loosest sense of the word, using a thin piece of fabric. So I'll probably do running stitch along this and then sew all of the pages in. This is obviously just a mock-up to kind of show you. And then I will sew that into the book page. And I think what I have just decided is if I fill this whole thing, if I fill this whole napkin with slow stitch, I can just fold it in half, and then the inside will hold the backing of the stitches. So all you'll see is the two outsides. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. So I may do just something simple on the inside, maybe just running stitch all one direction. So that would be half of this. And then the other half would be fabric added onto it. That's what I think I will do. So I'm going to iron this and then come back and start laying it out. All right, I am back with the ironed linen napkin and some various fabrics that I want to lay out to use for the slow stitching part of this journal cover. So my plan is to just kind of play around with this and see what happens. I have really loosely basted all of this down. You can see the big white stitches. As I work on this, most likely doing running stitch and probably some blanket stitch at the edges, maybe some seed stitch. I will remove all these big white stitches once these pieces of fabric are really secure. So I'm thinking I will check back in in a bit and show you how far I've gotten with running stitch. And probably the back part of this, like the inside of the cover, will be a separate video as I figure out what to do with that. Let's see what thread I've got to get started with. This is a really pretty color. I don't know how well you can see that. It's kind of a deep green, grayish, greenish, bluish. I like that color. I also have this whole mess of yellow. This is because I accidentally cut too many for a kit one time. So I think I might just start using that, and I will do 1 or 2 strands of this yellow when I use it. Maybe I'll just start with the yellow. These are kind of short pieces. So we'll see how far they go. I like to, well, let me think about this. I'm going to come in from the edge because I think I will want to do blanket stitch all the way around this piece since it's on top and we'll have raw edges. So for now, I will just do running stitch on this. You've seen me do this a lot of times if you've been here. Probably don't need a whole bunch of running stitch footage.
Late March. Temperature in Salt Lake City is 55. It's 41 in Evanston, upper 60s in Hayesville, a little bit shy of that in St. George where it's currently 65. But even though it's a mild morning,
I've been working on this slowly over the past couple of weeks, and I'm nearly finished. I have just this section left to do and maybe a little bit more down here. I've done quite a lot of just running stitch in different directions. It's been a really fun project to have on the go when I have a few spare minutes, like I do right now. My kids are at their homeschool activity day for the week, and I have just a little time this afternoon to work on this. So I'm going to sit and listen to my audiobook and hopefully finish the stitching on this. And then I'll be starting the other half, which I have a plan in mind for. If you remember, this will be folded. Let me show you. So it will be folded up like this to be the book cover, and it will kind of overlap like that, or like this, I guess, depending. So I've been working on just the outside of the cover, and then next week's video will be all about the inside, the other half of this. You can probably hear all the construction. We've got, pardon the movement, lots of things happening across the street from us right now. Which just means that our house kind of rumbles all day long. So I'm going to sit in the rumbling and get some stitching done. Here is the finished front part of the cover. I did add another piece that wasn't on my original plan. These two yellow pieces kind of pulled away from each other in a weird way just on this corner. And so I decided to cover that up, and then I stitched. It's hard to see because the thread is a really similar color to the fabric, but I just stitched concentric circles on there. Concentric ovals, I guess. And then I went around like this for this section. And I like that subtle change from all of this really straight stitching. So I've got some overlap. I'm going to turn this light off. See if you can see that better. I just went all different directions and kind of went until the thread ran out. And then I'd switch to a new color. So that's how that is looking now. And then for the inside, I'm planning to do just stitching. I'm not going to add any more fabric to the inside. I have all of these pearl cotton colors that I thought would look really beautiful stitched. I'm working out of this. Just pulling out the colors that I think would work. Okay, I think I'll stick with different blues, kind of in keeping with the front. What else could I do? Maybe some yellow. It's thicker than I want it to be, I think. This light yellow could work.